Miller,
Here.
Walters,
Here.
Cat,
Here.
13 present.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve minutes.
Major approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Hal, second by Billingsley. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Reports. We have a report today. I hope I don't mess his name up. Corbier.
There you go.
Thank you.
You get close, that's fine. Well, thank y'all for having us this evening, we appreciate you guys very much. We're just going to kind of give a report of what's been, short report of what's going on. If board members will stand up, we'd like to recognize them. And we have two new board members, John Bourne and Tanya, and y'all, go ahead, and so, y'all may be seated. But we would like to say thank you for our new board members and all the support that y'all have given us, and did y'all like the barbecue?
Yeah.
Loved it,
Very
thank you.
good. Very thoughtful. We used to do it for years and years and years, but he decided he wanted to move out of Saline County. But he moved to Duval's Bluff, but he wanted to come back. We asked him if he'd come back and do our barbecue dinner again, because we realized he's the best we could get, and he's the best there is at it. So we appreciate you, Gary. for
He came
doing
all the way
that.
from Duval's Bluff over here to cook for us.
He drove all the way from Duval's Bluff to bring your barbecue dinner to you guys. We're gonna have one speaker who works for the NRCS, which is USD, part of USDA, wasn't able to be here. And Dick Hoffman, which is our chairperson for the committee, had personal items he had to take care of tonight, so he couldn't, and he regretted to have. But if you got these chocolate chip cookies, you need to get some.
They're gone.
Oh, sorry, but that tastes that good. And Dick says he makes them himself.
He does.
And I believe him, so they're good. So I'm gonna give a report for the NRCS, which he also had a scheduling conflict, so he couldn't be here. He wanted me to tell y'all the NRCS, which is part of USDA, there was 15 applications for equip in the county. There are 7 new contracts totaling $102,000 just for the new 7. And there are 15 total active contracts for $263,000 that are obligated for Saline County. You know what that means? Anytime they buy anything for what they're doing on this equip program, there's also tax money involved. So that is quite a bit of money. And they also paid out $60,000 on new contracts for 2023. For a total amount of money coming in the county from NRCS this past year was $371,000. I don't know about you guys, but that's a lot of money, man. Award the grant here at Saline County Conservation District. We had awarded some grants, and have any of y'all been out to the Pediatric Plus? Have y'all not been there on Highway 5? If you get the opportunity to go there, it is what they call a farm, and I believe there's 2 of them in the state of Arkansas. There's 8 total around the state, but there's 2 farms. One is in Clark County, and they're building another one here right off Highway 5, and it's millions of dollars that they're putting in. So we wrote a grant for them for $25,000 for the state of Arkansas, and it was approved. And we also wrote a grant for the Vail Community Guard for $9,000. Now, how does this work? Well, for Saline County Conservation District, you have to put in 1/3 of the amount of money. They put up the other amount. Now, the Pediatric Plus went ahead, we call this in-kind work. The Pediatric Plus went ahead and did their own in-kind, because they had donations and people giving them the rest of the $25,000, and their application was $16,666.34, which was a grant from the Saline County Conservation District, grants district from the state of Arkansas. The Avila Guard, that's another thing that you have got, I know I've been saying this for years, but if you ever get the opportunity to go out to the Avila Guard, especially in springtime, it's very pretty. All the kids working in the the vegetable gardens and everything, and teaching them conservation ethics. We have an intern that comes over and helps them, and I think she's there on Saturdays and twice during the week. She comes over and helps them and let them learn. You know, food just doesn't grow in the grocery store and you just pick it out right there. So she teaches them, plus they also have a really good aquaponics program. They raise tilapia, they feed the tilapia, and then it goes through their system and all these fruit plants that in the wintertime takes the nutrients out of that water and goes back into the tank clean. Now, there are dying now because it gets cold, but tilapia just can't stand it cold. So that was a grant for $6,000, $9,000, remember, Saline County Conservation District does a third of it. So my salary that you guys have paid for goes into providing that third. One year they did like bricks where people, handicapped people. So that's where some of the money's going, so, that is really good and helps us. Now, we also, as I've told you in the past, and several of you know about our beaver program. And we all know what the beaver does to the roads in Saline County. It destroys them, so we have a bounty on beaver tails. We pay $15 per beaver tail, and you have to give it to us, because we don't want to get tails from Arkansas County. But we took in a total of 109 tails this past year, for a total of $1,090. So as you can see, we're actively trying to be engaged, and we have 2 more speakers that requested to speak tonight. Mr. Bob Fowler, if you'll come up.
Good evening. My name is Bob Fowler. I work for the Natural Resources Division of the Arkansas Department of Agriculture. And we are primarily at our agency concerned with conservation. And I work with the state agency and the local conservation district that you all have financially supported for several years is the local eyes and ears of conservation in Saline County. They help us as a state agency and partnering with the federal conservation agencies to identify the conservation needs in Saline County. And I just simply want to take just a moment to say thank you to Saline County, to the Quorum Court, and the county administration. You all have been great partners for many years to the Saline County Conservation District. You all have given financial support to help with the personnel and the office here in Saline County. And as an employee of a state agency, I want to simply say thank you. You've been great conservation partners, allowing the local board of 5 with an office and an employee here to work with us to help identify the needs and plug in the technical and financial assistance from state and federal agencies to the local conservation resources here in your county. You all have you've been solid. You've been there for many years for the Conservation District. Again, thank you. We have a local Conservation District office. You just heard from our office manager here. We have a board of 5 directors here from scattered around the county. They know you all, they know your county, and they know the needs in this county for natural resources and conservation better than the experts like me from the state office. And we appreciate the organization and the partnership that y'all have given for a lot of years. Part of the agency that I work with is involved in clean water and clean water projects around Arkansas. And one of the areas that we work in is clean water and wastewater treatment. And over the past fiscal years, fiscal year 21, 22, our agency worked with state and federal funding in developing Ural's County for clean water and wastewater treatment. And over the past 2 previous fiscal years, with the assistance of having a conservation office here to help us, having personnel, places to work, and a 5-member board scattered across the county to help guide us with the contacts with the local citizens to help facilitate our projects, we have been able to, just in the 2 previous fiscal years, to supply just under $4.5 million in wastewater and clean water project funding and grants to Saline County. It's my understanding from the figures I got from our accounting office a few days ago, we have been able to provide funding for rehabbing one of your water supply towers and tanks We have also supplied funding to build 2 new water supply tanks for your rural water systems. We have also improved one, and we have supplied funding to rehab one of your wastewater systems in Saline County. This is our job, but I want you all to know that having the Conservation District office, the board, having the employees here, which you all financially assist, helps us do our job, helps us bring state and federal funding to you all, put it on the ground, and improve the growth of your county through subdivisions, housing starts, and also protects our clean water and our water supply and the wastewater treatment. And I just want to say thank you once again for a long-term support relationship that I've observed between the Saline County Quorum Court, Saline County, and the Conservation District. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tate Wentz, the Water Quality Section Manager at the Natural Resources Division in the Arkansas Department of Ag. Bob did a really great job of introducing our agency and our programs. I supervise the Water Quality Section, which has the Non-Point Source Program, which is basically anytime it rains, stormwater runoff collects pollutants, and that's what we're trying to work through voluntary, non-regulatory conservation practices to abate that runoff. The other big program that Saline County has participated in is the Arkansas Unpaved Road Program. So what we really are doing is working with conservation districts, working with counties, municipalities to implement these programs. One of the big things I want to talk about is not so much what we've done in the past, but I will touch on that in the last decade because our projects are longer term. We look at about a 10-year period. We've funded about $750,000 in water quality projects in the county, and primarily in Saline County, but in the Upper Saline watershed, which is from Upper Cleveland County to basically just northwest of you all. And this is really focusing on, again, on-the-ground conservation practices. But really moving into the future, what we're doing right now, working with our partners with the Nature Conservancy and Saline River Watershed Alliance, we're updating a voluntary, non-regulatory watershed management plan. This is essentially a roadmap for the county or for all stakeholders in the watershed to improve water quality or protect the current water quality in the Saline River. And what this plan will do is take all this water quality data we've been collecting, analyze it, and look at it at a very smaller scale to basically identify areas of resource concerns, whether it's pasture lands, forest lands, urban runoff, and help us identify where we need to be consolidating our funds to have the highest return on investment for our limited resources. And we do work with conservation districts, again, counties, municipalities, to come up with those in-kind or matching funds for these federal dollars. And this is all coming from the US EPA, administered through the state. So again, looking for the future, these plans are about 10-year strategies, but this is, again, how we are going to really address on-the-ground conservation practices in the watershed. So this is an ongoing effort. The next meeting will be October 17th at 6:30 at First United Methodist Church in the Annex Fellowship Hall. I'll get it right. Have to rely on partners. We partner a lot with folks, so they keep us in line. So we encourage the JP and the Quorum Court to be engaged in this because again, a big part of the 2006 Watershed Management Plan was addressing urban runoff, stormwater management, and addressing what the urban center footprint has on water quality. So I just want to make that plug. This will be coming forward. What this does allow is, again, additional federal dollars through our program to come into the county to address these voluntary practices. So with that, again, thank the Conservation District for allowing us time to come talk to you all. And I think I have a question.
Are you seeing, I represent Western Saline County. We're starting to have timber disease out there. Are you guys dealing with any of that? Because they're starting to rip out trees. These are diseased trees. I wonder what the impact, if you guys are.
Sure. So most of the time I'm worried about water quality. That's my primary focus. And I can work with our forestry division, that's a sister division within the Department of Ag, and I can get that question and get it back to you on.
Yeah, I was just curious because as they start ripping them out, that's going to put, that's holding that water back is going right into the.
Certainly, and we at our first meeting, we had representatives from Green Bay. They were one of the largest landowners in the upper watershed. They are very concerned about water quality, their impacts, so I'll gladly reach out.
Green Bay's doing a lot of cutting.
Okay, well, thank you all.
Y'all back next month?
Gary coming?
Thank you all very much. All right, old business, Exhibit A.
I will motion to suspend the rules and place the ordinance back on first reading for purpose of amendment.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend the rules, place this back on first reading. Questions or comments about that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Read by title only.
First time we better read the whole thing.
You suspended the rules, your motion.
Is there a motion to read this
By title.
ordinance?
First reading.
First reading?
Make the motion first reading.
Second.
All right. We got a motion and a second, if you would, please read this.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of Saline County, State of Arkansas, and ordinance being entitled, and ordinance amending ordinance number 2004-34, litter control ordinance. Whereas Saline County is a beautiful county with many natural assets and has natural splendor married by litter. And whereas ordinance number 2004-34, the Litter Control Act has been effective for most 20 years, but amendments are needed to ensure the public is properly aware of litter control ordinances to help create sufficient disincentives to litter. And whereas the Quorum Court of Saline County is committed to the goal of the Litter Control Act, which is to improve the quality of life for all citizens of the state of Arkansas and County of Saline. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Saline County. Article 1, Section 3 of the Litter Control Act entitled Enforcement of the Act is hereby amended to add the following underlined language. County Judge of Saline County shall, to the extent there are funds available, cause signs to be placed on the county road referencing the Litter Control Act and possible monetary penalties for violating this act. Article 2, Section 8, Litter Control Act entitled Violations Penalties hereby amended to add the following underlined, delete the following struck through language. Every person convicted of a violation of Section 4, 5, or 6 of this act shall be fined not less than $500 or more than $1,000, except that those persons who violate Section 4, 5, or 6 of this act and who are found to have committed the prohibited acts in furtherance of or as part of commercial enterprise, whether or not the enterprise of disposal of waste shall be guilty of commercial littering, and such fine shall be fined not less than $700, no more than $1,000. Additionally, those convicted may be required to remove any litter disposed of in violation of this act. Article 3, Section 10 of the Litter Control Act entitled Penalty is hereby amended to add the following underlined and delete the following struck through language. Any person who violates any provision of Section 9 of this act shall be fined not less than $500, no more than $1,000. Article 4, Section 14 of the Litter Control Act entitled Proceeds from Sale of Junk Motor Vehicles, Old Vehicle Tires, and Inoperative or Discarded Household Appliances is hereby amended to add the following underlined and delete the following struck through language. Proceeds from sale of junk motor vehicles, old vehicle tires, and inoperable or discarded household appliances are fines received pursuant to this act. Any fines received pursuant to the Litter Control Act shall be utilized in accordance with Arkansas Code annotated 8-6-404. However, in accordance with Arkansas Code annotated 8-6-4041, any fines received pursuant to the Litter Control Act while Saline County is a certified affiliate to Keep Arkansas Beautiful or Keep America Beautiful Incorporated shall be deposited in the Litter Control account and used solely to pay for signage in Saline County, informing the public of the Litter Control Act. Number 2, the educational awareness opportunities for the public associated with Litter Control Act is deemed appropriate by the County Judge of Saline. Article 5, any strike-throughs or underlined additions in Article 1 through 4 above are to be deemed applied subsequent to passage but prior to publication and application of the terms set forth herein. Article 6, the provisions of this ordinance are here to be liberally construed to accomplish the objectives and purpose hereof. Article 7, if any section of this ordinance shall be declared unconstitutional or unlawful, that section of the ordinance shall be effective and all other provisions of the ordinance shall remain in full force and effect. Article 8, any part of Saline County Quorum Court Emergency Ordinance 2004-34, or any part or part of any ordinance, resolution, rule, or regulation now in effect that are in conflict with this ordinance are herewith and hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Article 9, a copy of the amended Litter Control Act incorporating the additions and deletions set forth in this ordinance, and this ordinance shall be on file in the office of the county clerk and available for public inspection during normal business hours. This is the first reading.
We have a motion by Bellinger and a second by Howe. Is there any discussion or questions? All those in favor signify. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to suspend the rules and put the ordinance on second reading.
Be enacted by the Quorum Court of Saline County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2004-34, litter control.
Okay, we are going to need we have a motion by Bellinger and a second by Curtis. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Be enacted by the Quorum Court of Saline County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2004-34, litter control ordinance.
I want to make a motion to suspend the rules and place on the third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Curtis, we got a second by Rue.
Be enacted by the Quorum Court of Saline County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2004-34, litter control ordinance.
All right, we had a motion by Rue, second by Curtis. I need to speak to the amendment just real quick. The amendment is that we are going to do as the law states that we will do when we collect littering charges. If we become a certified affiliate of Keep America Beautiful or Keep Arkansas Beautiful, then we can direct those funds for education and for purchase of signs. That is the initial intention of this. Where are we on this darn list?
So I think we need to, we got a motion and second on the floor, Judge, and we need to vote on that motion that suspends the rules, places it on third reading. After we do that, then we'll make a motion to approve final act on third reading, and then we'll do a roll call.
So we have a motion, second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Now make a motion to approve Exhibit A for the third and final time.
Second.
Motion second to be read by title only.
Correct.
Be enacted by the Quorum Court of Saline County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2004-34, the litter control ordinance.
We have a motion by Curtis, and a second by Bellinger. Is there any discussion? Call roll.
Hatcher,
Yes.
Billingsley.
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Rue,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Alvarez,
Yes.
Engel,
Yes.
Whitley,
Yes.
Chisholm,
Yes.
Walters, Heck,
Yes.
Bisbee.
Yes.
13-4, ordinance 2023-20.
Well, that was easy. New business, Exhibit B.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
By title only, Pat?
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of Saline County, State of Arkansas, and ordinance being entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2010-13 to amend the Saline County Personnel Policy Manual.
We have a motion by Bisbee, we have a second by Howell. Is there any discussion or questions? All those in favor, roll call, please.
Billingsley,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Rue,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Alvarez,
Yes.
Engel,
Yes.
Whitley,
Yes.
Chisholm,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Bisbee,
Yes.
Hatcher.
Yes.
13-4, ordinance 2023-21.
Thank you. Exhibit C.
Move to approve by title only.
Motion by Bisbee, second by Curtis. If you would read by title only, please.
Be enacted by the Quorum Court of Saline County, State of Arkansas, and ordinance being entitled, an ordinance to amend the 2023 Saline County budget ordinance number 2022-36 to appropriate and transfer funds, therefore to various budgets and for other purposes.
A motion by Bisbee, a second by Curtis. Is there any discussion, question? Is there anybody in the audience to speak to this ordinance? Roll call, please.
Howell,
Yes.
Rue,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Alvarez,
Yes.
Engel,
Yes.
Whitley,
Yes.
Chisholm,
Yes.
Walters, Heck,
Yes.
Bisbee,
Yes.
Hatcher,
Yes.
Billingsley.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-22.
Thank you. Exhibit D.
Move to approve, read by title only. Second.
Be enacted by the Quorum Court of Saline County, State of Arkansas, and ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to amend the 2023 Saline County budget ordinance number 2022-36 to appropriate transfer funds, therefore to the 911 emergency fund budget and other purposes.
A motion by Engel, a second by Bellinger. Is there anybody here to speak to this ordinance? Any public? Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I got a couple comments, Judge. I mean, we're adding 6, I know we're consolidating with Bryant, we're adding 6 new positions and activating 2 more for a total of 8 new positions. Our growth in revenue isn't as great as it has been in the past. Last year we went through a reappraisal year, so our growth was up percentage-wise. This year it's not as high. I'll just be cautious. We adding these positions. These are permanent positions. And even in budget or at some time next year, I feel like we need to review these positions and make sure they're utilized the right way, because most of the times they're permanent when they get them. So I would just want to caution, if they figure out they do not need all the positions, we need to revisit this and make changes at the appropriate time.
Judge, if I may, I'd like to second what J.P. Curtis said there, in that not only in these instances with these positions, but looking at projections moving forward in this fiscal year, I think we have to proceed with caution, as always, but especially this year in adding new positions. Not that we can't add some new positions, but we should, as a court, proceed with caution in doing so.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Rue,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Alvarez,
Yes.
Engel,
Yes.
Whitley,
Yes.
Chisholm,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Bisbee,
Yes.
Hatcher,
Yes.
Billingsley.
Yes.
Howell.
Yes.
Ordinance 23-23.
Thank you. Exhibit E.
Second.
In the matter of appointment to Saline County Public Library Board.
We have a motion by Carlton, a second by Jim. Is there any comment from the audience on this? Any questions or discussions from the Quorum Court? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're to the action items.
I'd like to make a motion to approve all three action items. These are went through Jessup, HR, Finance, and the final approval here.
Second.
Motion by Curtis, second by Bellinger. Any questions or discussion? Any comments from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move to suspend the rules and include Exhibit F.
We have
I'm
a
sorry.
motion by Bisbee to suspend the rules. We have a second by Curtis. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Exhibit F.
Move to approve Exhibit F.
Second.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of Saline County, State of Arkansas, and orders being entitled to appropriate funds from the District Court Automation Fund for the purpose of District Court related technology for other related purposes. Whereas the City of Benton, County of Saline, in cooperation in conjunction with GDOT, provide local access for the public to the judicial system through the District Court of Saline County, Benton Division. And whereas Arkansas Code 1613-704 allows the District Court to collect an installment fee each month on each account that the judge allows the defendant to make time payments to set installment fees are collected deposited each month in an account held by the City of Benton entitled the District Court Automation Fund, sold for the purpose of District Court related technologies. Whereas Arkansas Code 1613-704 requires that the expenditures from the District Court Automation Fund be approved by the District Judge and authorized by the City Council of the City of Benton, the Quorum Court of the County of Saline. Now therefore be it ordained that the Quorum Court of Saline County, Arkansas, Article 1, the amount of $18,006 currently held in District Court Automation Funds hereby authorized and appropriated to be spent on District Court related technology to include replacement of office and court computers and other technologies used for the purpose of District Court. Article 2, that the City of Benton Chief Financial Officer, upon joint approval by the Quorum Court of Saline County, is authorized to transfer said amount from the District Court Automation Fund and pay for District Court related technologies. Article 3 is hereby found and determined that the immediate passage of this ordinance is necessary for the continued efficient maintenance of the District Court of Saline County, and being necessary for the immediate preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare, and therefore an emergency is hereby declared to exist. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval.
This wasn't on the Finance Committee meeting, so Angie, would you kind of explain why we needed to do this tonight?
Yes, sir. Judge Ford contacted us, I think last week, because they had a server that basically failed. And so we have gotten that server back up and working, but it's kind of piecemeal together right now. And this is what this fund is set for, is to increase technology and be able to, that's what that purpose of that is set forth in law anyway. So he's already gotten a quote. They are ready to fix it. Benton actually moved it in there right after he contacted them. So the council has already approved it there. So this will be the final step in this.
If you didn't pick up on that, this is Benton dollars has been approved by Benton City Council as an emergency on a server that has an imminent failure in its future. So there will not be an automation fund. I just want to note that out. Motion by Curtis, second by Engel. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor, roll call, please.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Alvarez,
Yes.
Engel,
Yes.
Whitley,
Yes.
Chisholm,
Yes.
Walters, Heck,
Yes.
Bisbee,
Yes.
Hatcher,
Yes.
Billingsley,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Room,
Yes.
ordinance 2023-24.
Are there any announcements tonight? Okay,
Yes.
not you yet.
Okay, I got two things just to kind of update the Quorum Court on. First of all, I remember about 6 months ago, we were dealing with a planning issue as far as land and shooting ranges and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we aren't able to find an adequate place in Saline County because of the mile restriction. I did hook them up with the Mountain Valley Shooting Association, which is just over the Saline County, Garland County line. And they are, the folks that want to bring those sporting clays in have signed a contract to put that in just over the county line. But I just want to bring people, we tried best to get them in our county, but they're just going to be roughly 2 miles over the line here, so. And then one other thing, I'd just like to read a short section of a letter. As you may have known, I did challenge one book, took it for reconsideration. The book was Let's Talk About It, The Teen's Guide to Sex Relationships and Being a Human by Erica Moen and Matthew Nolan. It was currently in the young adult section of the library. Challenged or put that for reconsideration. The review committee has met, and the review committee met to review the book and decided it would fit into a new collection. We are in the process of having approved by legal counsel and then by the library board. This new classification section will be geared toward ages 18 through 24 and labeled new adult. The review committee found the book to have good information and was written in a way that a teen could easily understand the information being provided. However, a few of the sections seem to be for a more mature audience. So I just want to give you that. I took it through the whole process, and we have one book, and I think, Judge, your book falling almost in the same that you did the reconsideration for. I think it's going to fall in the same section that they want to create. That's what I just want people to let you know that, yes, it is, the reconsideration process is there. We've been down, I took it down the path, and the judge took it down the path. So there's other books offered up to the general public to put under for reconsideration.
Before I go to Mr. Walters, are there any other announcements? Barbara, I think you had one.
Oh, yes. Everybody like Riverside Grocery, Catfish. We're having it Saturday night, 5 to 7, at the Lake Noah Fire Department, the corner of Thompson Dairy Road and Avila West. Everybody come out, support our fire department. It's all yours too, because we're all mutual aid. You can meet some great catfish by our partner here over here.
Great, thank you.
Judge, I did have an item of discussion here tonight, if that's all right.
Sure.
That we discussed earlier. If would you rather have JR go first, or would you rather entertain this first?
We'll entertain this first.
Okay. Being that, thank you. Being that it is the duty of the Quorum Court to formally approve potential appointees to county boards that the county judge has chosen for appointment, I would like to talk tonight, just an item for discussion, about formalizing a process that would improve our upon our current process of vetting those candidates. And initially, not every time that they are approved, but the initial time that they are appointed, and what that would look like in my mind, and I wanted to get feedback from other respective members of the court, would be much like the judge did in our last meeting whenever he presented a member of the potential appointee for the library board, who now has been appointed to the library board, and the applicant or the potential gave a brief overview of qualifications and a brief overview of the desire for which they wish to serve, and also provided just a synopsis of their qualifications for the role. And I personally think that that's a very, I would like to look at or entertain drafting an ordinance that would support such a process moving forward, so that we would know more, as I think we owe it to the public to know more about the county board members that we're voting to approve appointment on. And so I would like to, if anyone has a comment on that before I look at, I'm working with Colton and with Judge on moving forward with that, but we wanted to get feedback from you all on how to be deliberate and respectful in that process.
Jim, I think that's a good idea. I really do. I wonder if it's not something we can do like a policy-wise, like an executive policy-wise. The judge has a policy that, you know, this is his appointment, it's his appointment process that he wants to include us with this recommendation from you. Maybe it is an executive policy that he runs past us for future appointments, and we'd have to approve that policy. But
I would certainly.
not a county law,
Yeah.
just a policy that we are good with.
Right, and I would, I would certainly entertain something along those lines. What I think about whenever looking to potentially draft an ordinance is, I don't look at Judge Brumley. Judge Brumley.
I never had
Sorry.
one inside.
Well, you got one now.
Got one
But, forgive me, Judge. But I don't look at Judge Brumley and have any doubts about judgments, but I think about 50 years down the road, when none of us are here, whenever Judge Brumley's not here, whenever someone sits in that seat that we will never know about how it will be handled in the future. And a rules change would be so easy to do away with, where an ordinance would be harder. An ordinance, of course, you can repeal it, but it would require a vote of the court to repeal.
The one question I have, Josh, going back to what you were talking about, Jim, I threw it over to Colton. Does anybody else, I mean, there's 75 counties in Arkansas. Does any other county do it that way for your ordinance, or they just do it by policy? I mean, that's something, Colton, you could ask around.
I can certainly look into that.
Yeah, I mean, answer kind of the question.
I think it was good too, when you have them come forward and we can also ask questions. Again, I know it's the judge's appointment, but that would be something that could possibly be added to, whether it be a policy or ordinance or however that.
Yes, me too.
I think this is an infringement of the judge's authority. And I think he's been very careful to run things by us and make sure we're heading in the right direction. It's very sensitive appointment. And basically, 50 years from now, I agree with you, there may be a lousy judge, but there may be 3 imbeciles sitting around this table too, so, you know.
Yes, and to your point, it is, the judge's decision on who he appoints. But it does come before us for a reason. And there are a lot of appointees that we appoint for the first time that we just don't know a whole lot about. And I don't see the harm in knowing more about them before I vote yay to that. I don't see that process took no more than 5 minutes. And I think it's worth 5 minutes to know who is on our municipal boards in the county and to know more about them. I just personally do. But thank you.
Okay, so basically what I was saying is the way he handled it, his latest appointment, was right down the road.
Right.
For what I think he'll be doing in the future when it comes up to the library appointments, because he knows how sensitive we are on the direction the library's been going the last 20 years versus the way it's going now.
We're not talking about library, not talking about, we're just talking about board appointees. Not talking about library, not talking about anything like that, and we're not talking about Judge Brumley. We're talking about the position of judge and the potential appointees of any or whatever boards that we would choose to add into this ordinance. There's a lot of boards. How many boards are there, Judge?
A lot is right on the money.
Yeah, there's a lot of boards.
We just don't want to slow the process. There's a lot.
Yeah.
If I may, and continue to talk, I think it's a good idea. Ordinances, there can be unintended consequences called you're not following the law. There are a lot of boards. There's some utility boards. As a matter of fact, very recently, Equalization Board and a Waterworks Board were all put in place. I think that a policy for good practice and for good reasons is in order. I believe that there is an ordinance that states that there is an appointment and there is a confirmation. I don't believe that we need to do an ordinance on the checks and balance that exist in that ordinance, but we do need to all be on the same page and have the expectation that in order for me to come in front of you all, I don't know if y'all are the check or the balance, and say, this is who I believe needs an appointment. They need to be vetted, and you all need the latitude to ask any question that you like. But I don't want to risk us being contrary to what an ordinance or law may say.
In the spirit of this, however it turns out, whether it's an ordinance or a process change, another process change, I don't want this to become a political litmus test. We just, I don't want to get into that. I would just personally like to know more about the person's qualifications, why they chose to serve, what their vision is for whatever board that they're choosing to serve on.
The flip side to that is 50 boards, how many people on each time, the board turnover, how much time do we have where this is a part-time job for us.
Sure.
Full-time, we put our trust in the judge to make the right decisions. Obviously, appointments that are going to be combative or whatever, he's going to run it past us and give us the courtesy.
We're signing on to it, though, to
Right.
people we don't know. I'm not really comfortable with that. I am with
But I mean,
this
that's every
this
hire in the
coach.
county. Then.
With this coach, with this judge, I'm comfortable, but, I don't know who's going to be the next county judge.
Here's what I would say. I believe that in committee, you all should be made aware. That gives you time before we get here. And I will, can't speak for the next coach, but I will work with you all as we go forward. And it'll give us some time to fill that out and how we're executing on the spirit of what you're saying. Thank you.
Did I ask a question, if it's just a policy versus an ordinance, if it's a policy that's put in place in your office, does that change with the next county judge? Does the policy change, or does the next county judge continue on your policies until?
That would be up to the next county judge.
Okay.
Could I say something, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Since I got on the Quorum Court, there were times that we would add somebody, whether it was a volunteer fire department or some of the other boards that come up. I didn't know these people. But it seemed like, at the get-go, everybody was approving them. So I approved them too. But I did have that wonder in my mind. I don't know anything about these people. I'm not saying that we go to a point where that we question who you appoint. But to me, there wouldn't be anything wrong with us getting to know, being informed of who these people are.
5 minutes is not very long.
Yeah.
I agree. We'll continue unless there's a wish of the court to go a different way. If I can work with Whitley in going forward.
Thank you, Judge.
Absolutely. Before we get to Walters, anybody else have anything? This past Monday, on this courthouse lawn, we memorialized the 22nd year of 9/11. Jerry Cohen was able to mobilize, I think, 20 fire departments and law enforcement that showed up on this courthouse lawn along with residents. We'll continue to do that. Very appreciative for all of those who served and all of those who showed up that night. Also, Exhibit E, we talked about an appointment, and there has now been confirmation of a new library board trustee, Mr. Richard McEwen. I want to say publicly, I have full confidence in Mr. McEwen, and I am very appreciative for his willingness to serve in such an important aspect in our community. Speaking of people that serve well in our community, Mr. Walters.
Thank you, Judge. January 1st, 1995, I was sworn in the first time. 17 days. After bed. So I said, 1 month later, and have a race district, so I will be, have plenty of time to run.
Another opponent.
First few years that I gave his I'll have Brad on the board, he'd agree on that. But it's been a pleasure the last few years. But I gotta tell him, if I make it to the next year, I'll be 90. I always tell him, I said, when I was born, Moby Dick was a man. So I think I moved in the downside and put it back.
We love you, JR.
Miss Bailey has been that year.
I didn't know anything about his personal aspirations.
JR, the area you're moving into, you're gonna be real close to Riverside. You'll fit into that early morning coffee club.
He's looking for new customers.
Got money.
Can we get you to come back up here and give us advice though? Because we love you.
in jury about 7 months.
Okay, good for you. We love you, JR.
Well, it's been a pleasure, but you know, there's a time everything has come to an end.
No, you're just moving on. Not to an end.
What JR didn't say is he's been on the court for 25 years and he's never missed a meeting.
Yeah, but one thing, one night, Mr. Curtis asked me, he said, how you doing? I have my neck back there, 26 tables. He said, my God. But I had to carry back supper this morning, and my wife grabbed me that night. But I feel like this, you tell people, you vote for me and I represent you. You know, you and I represent you. So I'm lucky that you.
JR, thank you. You encourage me. I see you daily serving by, how many weddings have you done? I'm gonna say how many people have you married? And we'll say that.
444.
Say it again.
3444.
3,444.
3,444.
That's a bunch. And,
I've said there's a lot of guys who made me.
Sentenced a lot of guys to misery.
25 years without missing, I don't know if anybody in the state of Arkansas has done 25 years without missing a meeting. Reed Bellinger was running at you hard until his second month on the board. Before we get too unruly, does anybody have anything else coming from the floor?
JR for president.
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor, stand back.